is the real deal. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I am super excited to do this because this has been kind of in the making for the last month or so, and I just feel like if I'm having issues, why not possibly help somebody else with my issues? So these are just some of the things that I've learned in my 23 years. I turned 23 in April, so a few months ago, and I really feel like I have learned a lot, especially in this past year. A lot of these are from after high school graduation and on, because for anyone that's watching this that's in high school, like, I didn't really learn a lot in high school. I really just learned basically who I didn't want to be. I would not take high school too seriously. If you're in high school right now, you're going to change a lot, so just keep that in mind. So let's just get into these 23 things that I've learned in the last 23 years. I have them written down so I didn't forget anything, and let's just get started. 1, always carry a notebook. I carry this little black book around everywhere I go. Sometimes bigger notebooks, but this seems to be my favorite because I always have it on me. It's so small, it can fit everywhere, and I just like that I can always write down ideas and things that I have basically any type of hunch about. I'll just write it down in the notebook and I won't forget it, especially like to-do lists and things that I easily forget. So I'm someone that likes to write it instead of putting it in my phone because I actually look through this thing, so it helps me out. 2, less caffeine equals more energy. 3, fear is something that we make up. Fear is something that can be based off of fact, but for the most part, our own fear comes from scenarios that we think will happen, not something that has already happened. 4, put your opinions out there. You never know who needs to hear it. And this is something new for me because I've always kind of kept quiet about how I feel, especially when I was younger. But as I've gotten older and I now have a kid, I feel like my opinion actually matters, even though it's always mattered. But I really feel like it's best to just state how you feel when you feel it, instead of holding it in and kind of keeping a shade over how you really feel, because you just never know who needs to hear it. 5, you can't grow in your comfort zone. And a lot of people say this. I feel like it's a little bit cliche, but you cannot obtain the growth that you want while doing what you've always done. 6, there's always another perspective. 7, skin routines are totally necessary, even if you think you don't need one. I never thought I needed one, and I really did, and I really benefited from it. So I'm really happy that I've decided to stop, I guess, thinking body products and face products are just a waste of money, and actually doing some research, and it really has helped me out. 8, now this is something I heard recently on a podcast. I'm going to link the podcast down below because I really like this woman's outlook on a lot of things. Her name is Ambi, and she's just really cool. She has a lot of really good tips and things, especially if you're in a relationship or you're trying to become relationship ready. I think she has some really cool advice. But she noted, it's okay to not be okay and be okay with it. So if you're knowing that you're not 100% happy with where you're at right now, that's totally okay. And it's okay to be understanding of that. Just being okay with not being okay can really help get our heads on straight and figure out what we have to do to move forward. 9, you must risk in order to gain, and nothing will feel safe. So by that, I just mean I don't feel like I've really gained anything without taking a risk. Traveling was a huge risk for me. I took that leap, and of course it wasn't 100% safe, but I needed to do that in order to grow, and that's what I felt I needed at that time. I'm doing something right now, project-based, that I am really proud of, but I've risked to get to this point. And even YouTube, it's weird to put yourself out there, but without that risk, you cannot ever gain, meeting new people and just growing in another way. So I really think that's super important. 10, let go of wanting and put action towards getting. So let go what you want and you dream of and figure out what you have to do to get to that point. So an example I wrote down for this was when you really want a relationship or you really want a certain person and you're just like super persistent in getting this person. We all know that's just going to push them away. So that's just basic facts of life. But it's important to really do the work on yourself before getting into a relationship. So getting yourself relationship ready, figuring out the person that you want to be in a relationship, and actually making moves every single day to get you closer to becoming that person, and then that relationship will come to you. So that's where when you let go of something, it comes back to you. That's kind of where that comes from. 11, follow hunches and ideas. They may not lead to that end goal that you're looking for at the moment, but they could possibly lead to something greater. So for me, I feel like I really resonate with this because I always have these tiny little ideas, these little dreams, and if I don't put them to use, they'll come back to me normally, and then I end up doing something about them. But it's not like something drastic happens from them. I just am able to look back and really take important points from what I've learned. So if you go out to designing something or creating something and it just doesn't go the way that you want, you can always take information from what you've been through to avoid that in the future or help get better at it in the future. And I just feel like it's very important to follow through with those ideas instead of keeping them in, because normally when we have a really good idea, they don't go away. And if they do go away, somebody else takes it, and that's just how it works. 12. This one I need to hear, so that's why it's on here. But home workouts matter. If you can't get to the gym, it's fine. Do a home workout, burn some, fat, get your heart racing, and that is healthy. That is something that should be done instead of just saying, oh, I'm so mad I missed the gym today. Like, just bust out a home workout and move on. 13, in order to be happy, it's necessary to say no. 14, traveling is a must for me, 100%. I think of traveling all the time. I'm not harping on it because there's some fun stuff coming up, but I always like to have something to look forward to when it comes to traveling. 15, say less and listen more. 16, sometimes it's necessary to read between the lines. And I learned this because not everybody is going to say how they feel, exactly how they feel at least. And I am like the biggest culprit of this, so I'm learning from myself that sometimes in certain situations you just have to read between the major things that are happening. 17, comparison is a joy sucker. Don't do it. 18, if you don't fit in, run with it. Use it in any way possible. 19, always be in the middle of reading something new. 20, you're never too old to start a new hobby, a new passion, a new anything. I've learned this from my boyfriend because he's constantly picking stuff up, and it's just really inspired me to start looking deeper into what I want to do and learn, and I think that's just really important to know and understand. 21, organic matters. It matters. On some level, organic totally matters. What we put into our body totally matters. What we put onto our body matters, and
it just matters.
22. Now, these two last ones are two of my favorites, so I say them for last. Use the past as a tool now to create your now differently. So instead of being upset over a past experience or a past relationship, a past issue, use that trauma or that really tough experience to create this right now differently. 23. I had it written down a while ago and I added it today, not realizing that I already had written it. So I wrote on the bottom, I wrote for 23, compare your previous self to, only compare your previous self to impress your future self. So it doesn't really make sense. But then around it, in the black writing, I wrote, you should only be living to impress your future self. So this one I kind of changed the wording of a little. But I wrote, you should only be comparing your previous self to your now self to impress your future self. So all of this reflection and everything that you do for yourself, don't then look at somebody else and say, why am I not there yet? How am I like still in this position? Blah, blah, blah. Only use your right now to impress your future self, and not comparing you to somebody that's a little bit further along than you, because you're you and they're them. You're on your own journey, they're on their own journey, and that's that. So that sums up my 23 things that I've learned in the last 23 years. I think those are basically my favorites. That practically sums it up for me. They all have a really strong purpose in my life. I just want to share these with you guys so you can also see into what I've been going through, and maybe you can even relate to that in some way. So I just want to thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, especially if they're going through a tough time. That's about all, folks. I will be back with more videos. Don't forget to turn your notifications on so you're here for the next one, and I will see you guys later.